Magic the Gathering has gone full space opera for its latest set, Edge of Eternities. This might be the best story from Magic this year. But you're here because you don't have 11 hours to dive in, and you gotta know why a cat is so important. Strap in and get ready to head into Lightspeed with this fast lore recap. This is Edge of Eternities, a place that exists outside of all the planes we know. So Thera is the main star of the galaxy. It made 5 planets that currently surround it and is currently dying. This is where we need to establish the hierarchy of the groups involved in our story. The Drix are at the very top, and underneath are the Pinnacle, who oversee everything. The Pinnacle create Eternity columns, which act both as fast travel and preservation. Second thing they can do is Weft Walk, which is basically planeswalking. The relationship between Drix and Pinnacle is simple. Drix give them this power and authority, and in return, Pinnacle collects as much stuff as possible when planets and stars are about to die. Under Pinnacle are 2 religious groups at war over Sothera. The Sunstar Free Company Knights have the goal of reversing Sothera's aging. They want to make sure Sothera burns bright for as long as possible. They believe all the resources people can get come from Sothera before it burns out. Once the light is gone, there are no more materials. They call their mission the Sum, and they will do anything for it. The Monoists believe in feeding Sothera to make it a super void and summon their god. They believe that the next life is a better life and will sacrifice themselves to Sothera to make it bigger. These 2 factions are at war with each other for the control of Sothera. The final piece of setup you need to know is that there are 2 separate simultaneous stories happening that merge into one. I'm giving you each story as it happens in the timeline and not how it's told. One thing is certain: the story revolves around a cat. Sammy and Tanuk are partners in crime with a noble cause. Sammy is a human who lost their cat Miri after it was startled and Weft walked out of the ship, the Surima. The Surima has a lot of character for a ship. It's a bit of a fixer-upper, so they need these odd jobs to keep the cat hunt going. Tanuk is a Kav from Kavaron who was banished from his planet when he went against their core belief: don't mess with destiny, even if it means saving more Kav. They've taken on a job from the Tin Man to grab an artifact from Sigma's Reach, a new mining settlement harvesting Moxite. At least, that's what they think. When they touch down, it is abandoned, but not in a everyone left a few years ago. More like a zapped away in 2 seconds, no mining has been done, and there's hot tea and fresh pie. Enough red flags are going off, but Sammy hears a cat meow. Thinking it could be Miri, they sprint towards the sound. They reach a building, and inside is not a cat, but this weird artifact covered in black goo. It moves towards Sammy and keeps saying it's choosing one. As they try to put it in a stasis casket for safekeeping, the artifact touches Sammy. They pass out, and Tanuk takes Sammy and the artifact back to the ship. This is the artifact the Tin Man has hired them for, and they need to go to Kavaron to grab some supplies. Once there, they notice 2 Free Company ships chasing each other. One of them ends up crashing near Sammy and Tan. This is all just odd behavior. Must be that second story happening at the same time. Alpha Rael is a Monoist that's questioning his faith after his sister gives her life to Sothera. He decides to join the attack on the Free Company's massive ship, the Dawnsire. The plan is to attack, do as much damage as possible, and then take a pill they keep on their forehead to turn them into a mini void. All of this in 30 minutes or they will instantly splat. The Monoists use Charizard to crash at 30 kilometers an hour and delay the impact on their bodies. The plan is going as expected. Lots of fighting against Sunstar Knights aboard the Dawnsire. Alpha Rael ends up fighting in a bathhouse before getting held by his ankles, watching another Monoist get beat up. But these 2 Free Company members are key to the story. Halia is a squire for Sir Vondam, a Sunstar Knight for the Free Company aboard the Dawnsire during the attack. Halia has a deep love for Vondam, a mentor and a father figure to her. Captain Slats is this all-seeing light that tells them Vondam will die during this attack from the Monoists. Vondam, true to his faith, is ready to go out in battle. Halia can't bear for that to happen and plans to change his fate. coming back to the fight. Halia is getting curb stomped by Alpha Real in order for Vondam to have one-on-one fights. After he beats the first monoist, Halia lets go, but instantly regrets it because that's when everything changes. Alpha Real doesn't believe in monoism, takes this void pill and throws it away, accidentally throwing it through Vondam's head. Everyone passes out and Free Company reinforcements come and take them all away. Alpha Real regains consciousness in front of Captain Slats. Captain Slats doesn't want to kill Alpha Real because he made the choice to live and gives him an escape pod. Meanwhile, Vondam is alive but has a hole through his head. Vondam thinks Slats is compromised. Vondam thinks there's something manipulating everything around them because of how perfect it was that Alpha Real turns on his faith, gets a hole in his head, and Slats lets a prisoner go. Their plan is to go and kill Alpha Real, which now explains the ships that Sammy and Tan saw. Now we're starting to blend the stories. Sammy and Tan go to the crashed Free Company escape pod to meet Alpha Real. They try to help him out before the Cov surrounds them. Sammy starts to spin a story to escape, and although they don't buy it and plan to take them as prisoners, they go along with it. This leads Alpha Real, Tan, Sammy, and the Cov going back to the Surima because they're monoists and they need to contain a dangerous object, and that's why they're here when they shouldn't be. Sammy pulls out the artifact. Alpha Real touches it and begins to float with it. This artifact is called the End Stone, and it explains to Alpha Real how powerful it is, as long as it has a host to travel with. How strong is it? Well, instead of getting arrested by the Cov, they all get radiation burns, and Alpha Real gets a hole in his hand. Our crew pack up the hurt Cov and head to Taro Dwend, a trading post outside of Kavaron. Taro Dwend is full of criminals and families, sort of a mishmash of poor creatures and people. It's a perfect spot for our crew to regroup. They get the Cov the treatment for their radiation burns and go looking for some supplies and ask if they've seen Miri the cat. Well, Alpha Real is locked inside the Surima, having the dream about the End Stone and learning its powers. When he wakes up, he finds a hole in his hand and he realizes he has to escape, but the latch is on the other side of the door. Alpha Real got this cool new tool with his hand. See, the hole in his hand acts like a portal gun from the game Portal. He aims it at the door, reaches his fingers through, and opens it up. Alpha Real finds another note in a syringe from Sammy. The note attached says to take this to ease his nerves. This is when a familiar figure walks into the Surima and they're not happy. Vondam and Halia have a plan to kill Alpha Real and maybe stop whatever thing might be controlling everything going on. Vondam thinks he's compromised with a hole in his head, so Halia is going to land on Taro Dwend, find Alpha Real, and bring him back. They agree that if she can't come back, they'll enact Protocol 7 and Vondam will blast the ship that Alpha Real and Halia are in. Vondam, Halia, and the Dawnsire show up to Taro Dwend and begin tearing it apart to find them. The people of Taro Dwend do not like the Free Company, so they riot when the Sunstar Knights show up. Sammy and Tan get caught in this mosh pit of violence and need to get back to the Surima to leave. This is when Sammy realizes there's something looking out for them, and they think it's massive luck. Like cartoon levels of intervention. Sammy is jumping and screaming to try to get the attention of the Knights, and banners are blocking the view of Sammy, screaming over their voice. Sammy and Tan are untouchable. They get back to the Surima and see Alpha Real get beat to death by Halia with her axe. She turns around to see Sammy and Tan and kills them, but their death buys Alpha Real enough time to stab Halia with the syringe through his portal hand and paralyzes her, is what I would say if all of that was true. Because here's the deal about the End Stone. It can change the timeline to suit its needs in the story. So instead of Sammy and Tanuk dying a tragic and gory death, they trip over some wires, and Alpha Real still uses his portal hand to paralyze Halia by shoving it through. They all leave in the Surima, which means Halia gets on her walkie-talkie with Vondam to blow up the Surima. Protocol 7 is being activated, but Vondam isn't going to do it no matter how much begging and logic she throws at him. Part of the reason Halia wants Vondam to blast her in the ship is because the Free Company has gone full genocide mode on Taro Dwend, killing everyone, women, children, pets, even going as far as blasting the Dawnfire rockets to take off to burn everything, like a nasty version of a spaceship burnout. This moment has Aaliyah questioning her faith as a summist. Does doing all that really benefit the greater good of growing the light? Our new motley crew all need a purpose to rally around. Monoist faith ain't it. Summist faith ain't it. Sammy's cause is it. They all agree to take the End Stone to the Tin Man and join the search to find Miri the cat. Oh yeah, the cat is truly the reason for everything. But who is the Tin Man? Our crew meet Tezzeret, aka the Tin Man. Although there's all this high-tech space stuff, magic is stronger. He demonstrates it by crumpling Halia's armor. Tezzeret does not want any ownership or control over the End Stone, but to escort it to where it wants in the hopes of meeting the creators. Tezzeret enlists the help of Menon to upgrade the Surima for the Great Escape. The End Stone wants to leave Solthera, and this can only be done through the Eternity column at Infinite Guideline. On Infinite Guideline, we meet Mantis and her robot who have captured Vondum. Mantis and Vondum put the pieces together that everyone is converging on Infinite Guideline to get the End Stone. To either side, the power it holds can wipe out the other side. Sammy's game plan is simple. Step 1, have Alpha Rael tell the Monoists they'll bring the End Stone if they protect them. Halia will feed the same story and information to the Free Company. Step 2, Sammy and Tan will board Infinite Guideline and tell the truth that they need to leave through the Eternity column, because it would be silly to tell them the truth. It'll stall long enough for Alpha Rael and Halia to sneak into the warp bay, grab a warp ferry, and attach it to the Surima. Step 3, blast out of there without anyone getting hurt. Everyone is on board with this plan, except Halia, who agrees but seems to have her own agenda. Halia is going to help them, but will go to the Free Company to ask for a pardon for Alpha Rael and rejoin. She needs to see if Vondum is out of his mind because of the hole in his head, or if what happened on Taro Dwend is because of her faith. If her faith was the cause, she will leave, knowing her faith isn't good. Ooh, baby, climax time. Step 1 goes as planned. Step 2 is when the hiccups come in. Sammy and Tan meet Mantis on Infinite Guideline, and she knows the whole plan. Mantis knows they're trying to steal the warp ferry, and now this plan seems to be dead in the water. Then thousands of little holes appear on Infinite Guideline, and a thick gas fills the air, which sets off a chain reaction. Outside Infinite Guideline, the Monoists and Sunstar Free Knights start fighting each other because it looks like Pinnacle's being attacked. Alpha Rael and Halia see it, but stick to the plan. They go to the ferry bay, start guessing the combos to unlock the warp ferry, but guessing it won't do it. But going back to the End Stone to alter the timeline and get the code and get the ferry, that will work. Out from the shadows is Sir Vondum with open arms to take back Halia and finish their plan. You didn't hear that Halia is kind of a cat girl now and renounces her squire status. Vondum and Halia begin fighting. Halia knows she can't beat him, and he isn't giving it his all. The love between them is putting them in a sparring state. Halia gets Alpha Rael to sandwich Vondum between them and puts his portal hand on the back of his neck. Then she reaches through and snaps Vondum's spinal cord, paralyzing him. Vondum and Halia share a moment together where she asks for the answer she's looking for. Vondum says what happened on Taro Dwend was not because of the hole in his head. Halia still believes in her faith as a summist, but thinks that what happened was wrong, and her escorting the End Stone might help make up for the bad that was done. No need for pardons now. Meanwhile, in Infinite Guideline, the thing attacking are Eldrazi. The Eldrazi spare the Monoists, but are chasing Sammy, Tan, Mantis, and a robot. Mantis and a robot split from Sammy and Tan to buy them time. They end up in a bay to fight off an Eldrazi. Sammy is looking for a cord to try and zap it. They're opening up drawers and stasis caskets looking for anything. Sammy opens up one marked for disposal, and it's Miri here the whole time, frozen safe. The emotion of the reunion is just so beautiful. And then Miri wife walks away again when she sees the Eldrazi. Oh, Sammy's heart breaks again, but finds a cord to pass to Tan, who zaps the Eldrazi. Tears flow, and Tan takes Sammy back to the Surima. But get this, the Monoists have protected the Surima because of the Eldrazi protecting them. With some End Stone magic, the warp ferry is attached, everyone is back on board, and all they need to do is dip. While the Monoists, meanwhile, they've put another obstacle up in the way, because now the entire ship is in a Charizard field, which means that if they just try to leave normally, they're gonna get that 30-kilometer-an-hour splat. Sammy decides to just get the Sarima to go 0 to 100 at the Eternity column and hope that once the nose of the ship is out, the Warp Fairy will kick in and they'll suck them up, avoiding the squish and getting out of there. A plan so crazy, so cinematic that it works. The Sarima leaves out there with Tezzeret, Sammy, Tanuk, Halia, Alpha Rael, and the Stone. The Monoas that were on board got squashed by Tezzeret, who got a bit impatient because of, well, the obstacle that they put in the way of their smooth escape. On the bright side, Miri did make it onto the Sarima. A beautiful reunion, years in the making. Now, to take the End Stone to where it wants. The End Stone wants to go towards the worm wall at the edge of space. As they get closer, a hot green lady appears inside. The creature puts a hand on Alpha Rael and says he's been touched by the core and is #blessed. Oh, he collapses. Halia comes to the defense and swings her blade at the creature. The creature loses 2 fingers but crushes her throat. It says Tezzeret smells like chaos and calls itself the last thing. Then the creature and the End Stone poof away. Tezzeret smells the fingers and says, "You do have planeswalkers here." Okay, not actually the very end, which is abrupt. Although that was chaotic, Sammy hugs Miri, thankful they've been reunited, and our crew are left there. I know this is meant to be the Sparks Notes version, but even if it takes you months, I highly recommend you read the full story. It dives deep into questioning beliefs and motives as to why Sammy is so determined to find their cat. Deep diving into these religious themes on both sides and how they both interact when they're questioning their faith. This also signifies the biggest project we've done. We're just a local game store in Gilroy, but we're passionate about this hobby. Throw the like and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and check out our website or come by the store if you're in the market for Magic or anything else TCG at thehubtcg.com.